How many kinds of sweet flowers grow in an English country garden?
I thought what we could do for this class is, because we haven't done any sort of painting since we did the perspective drawing and painting. So I thought what we could do for this video is I'll show you how to do a really simple technique to paint the petals of flowers to build up an overall painting that you can finish and frame. So it's a really straightforward basic way of painting, but it gets your skills and it develops a way of thinking about how you put together colours on a brush when you're actually doing a painting. I'm just using a standard sort of watercolour paper that you can buy from a craft shop. I tend to work quite big, so mine is quite large. You can do A4 if you like. I'm also using a range of different paint colours. They're all simple, cheap craft paints. I've got tubs to mix the paints in, and then I've got a whole load of different brushes, from round tipped to flat edged. Do you see that really handy brush? All sorts, big box full. So let's get started. Now I'm not going to mix this paint. I don't want it to mix. I'll show you why. If I get one of my flat edge brushes, so this sort of thing, so that's a really good brush because one side is flat, the other side is flat. Do you see what I mean? So you can paint wide or you can paint a thin line. But what I'm going to do is pick up half red, so a good bit, and then half yellow. So do you see how that actually sits on the brush? It isn't mixed. There's yellow on there and there's red on there. So I'm going to get a little bit more yellow because I want to be able to paint and let it flow, okay? That's what you're after. So what I'll do, I don't want these paints to mix. I want the leaves to paint themselves. So my first leaf, or my first petal, is going to be like that. So do you see how I turn the brush as I'm painting? Another little bit of paint. Again, turn the brush, bring it into the middle. Now you can work from you know, a vase of flowers if you like, but I quite like to make things up as I'm painting. Now do you see how, because I'm not mixing that paint together, do you see how it's painting itself? So keep adding that and start to build your first flower. So that basically there is our first flower head. Simple as that. Now I'm going to mix half red and half blue. Do you see that? So it's not actually mixed together. Then I'm going to do the same thing. Now with this I'm going to swap brushes, so I want to put in, now do you see that? I want to put in another colour in a second. Again, half and half, look. You can change the shape of the flower itself. Now look at that blue against that red. It's really dramatic. And do you see how I drag the brush down and then turn and then drag? That's the thing of having a flat sided brush. You can do that really easy. So I'm literally just making this up and I'm letting the paint do the work. So if I take that bit of paint there, can you see that? Okay, you've got the red on there. Now this is a flat brush. You've got the red, the white and the blue. So I'm going to take another little bit of red. So it's not mixed, okay? Then I'm going to put it onto the paper and I'll show you exactly what I'm doing, okay? So first of all, I touch it on the flat edge, bring it down and I turn it. Then I turn it again. And that gives you that. Again, pick up the paint. It isn't mixed on the brush. We do the same again. Down turn down to the center of the flower. Okay, so now you can see by not mixing those paints, I'm getting these lovely different colours in there. Look at those. And that's really simple, straightforward stuff. Okay, so now we're starting to get that background colour in there. So don't worry if sometimes some of that wet paint mixes with what you're putting in the background. See, like that? Don't worry about it. You want your painting to be interesting. So if that happens, all it does is add to the finished effect. As an artist, you should be trying out new things all the time. So whether you're just starting out or whether you've been painting for 20 years, you should be trying new things all the time and looking at what other artists are doing. So we are getting to a point now, just sorting out a new brush. Again, right, flat and flat, okay? Always a good brush to use, yeah? Just preference. As an artist, you've got to try things out. Try different brushes, try different techniques. You won't know what you want to do until you stumble across it. And a lot of the time, as artists, we deal with happy accidents. And a happy accident is something that goes a bit wrong, like these colours mixed up, but it actually ends up being pretty cool. And through working like that, you can find different techniques. So all I'm going to do now is add some very loose black detail in my sort of style, okay? So you don't have to copy these things. You can just use this as reference and make your own style, and that's what you want. Now I'm not going to put too much detail in, okay? So it's just enough to give it a finish off. Right, let's get this finished. Now I think that is done. Okay, so I've added some black detail, not too much, just enough to finish it off and make it into a painting that would look good hung and framed absolutely anywhere. Okay, so give it a go, get your paints out and get on with it.
Lupin and tall hollyhocks, roses, foxgloves, snowdrops, forget-me-nots in an English country garden. In an English country garden.